Namaste. Welcome to a morning stretch. Might be the evening for you, it's the morning for me. And I'm going to do a 1 hour combination that will be basically a little bit of hip opening, concentrating on the hip opening and twisting, but we'll get a little bit of everything in here. And I have some props, so because we're going to do a little bit of lifting up, I have 2 blocks, but if you don't have blocks, for those of you who have been collecting toilet paper, you can use 2 rolls of toilet paper. So I just brought that in for your information. So, coming to a seated position, just start by placing your hands on the floor a little bit behind your hips and let your weight go into your fingertips more than the heel of your hands. So you could even turn your hands toward the back if you want to open the wrists a little bit more, or toward the side, which is a little bit gentler. And then as you lean back, let your belly release a little bit, and then begin to lift the abs up, lift the back of the body nice and straight so you feel like you're leaning a little bit back, and then just take your head in a couple of circles in each direction. Nothing special, just warming up the neck. And then when you finish your head circles, just looking straight ahead, let your eyes close and feel your weight going into the front of your hand, to the knuckles, to the fingers. There's a little more weight there. And then press down on your hands and release your lower back, your sacrum. All right, not letting the belly go, but opening the back, opening the waist. So almost feel like you're rounding your back. And then take 3 breaths right there. Letting the breath soften. And then very gently lifting your hands away from the floor. You'll feel a little more work in the center of your body. Let your hands rest around the shin of your front leg. So they'll be a little bit off to one side, right or left. And then just use that so that you're pulling up away from that rather than sinking down into the floor. And take 3 more breaths. And then letting your hands come just to the front of your knees, keeping the eyes closed. Lift the shoulders up towards your ears and then roll them toward the back of the room, softening and opening through the collarbone, engaging the shoulder blades, and then checking that that didn't make you arch the top of your back. Just letting the ribs drop so the back is still straight. And take 3 breaths where you breathe in for 4 and out for 6. Lifting up in the side body, lifting up through the ears, the top of the head. And then releasing your hands from your legs, bring them to your heart center. And feeling your thumbs right on the breastbone there, right in the center. Take 3 more breaths with in for 4 and out for 6. Time. And then tipping your head so you open your eyes to your fingertips. Let your eyes get used to the light. And then release your hands and take them up to the sky, looking up, right up between your hands. Pulling the shoulder blades down, let the arms go back a little bit. And tuck your chin, lift your head to straight, keeping the arms back a little bit. Look down at your ankles. And then look back to the straight and release the arms down. And just fold a little bit forward on the floor. So you're walking your hands out and pressing your hips back. So you feel the sacral area open up. And then whichever leg is in front, it's going to be different for everyone. You're going to take the opposite arm from the leg that's in front and bring that hand underneath the hand that's outstretched and try to bring your elbow down to the ground, looking just gently out in front of you, and then press up from that and back to the center. And then just take your legs and just change the cross of the legs. Take the hands to your side again, so you lift up nice and tall. Lift the arms up to the sky. Drop the shoulders back and down. Look up between your hands. Take the arms back by your ears. Feel them sort of disappearing from your sight. And then lift from the back of your neck, taking your head straight forward. And exhaling, looking down at your legs. Inhaling, bringing the head straight up. Taking the arms out to the side. And then bringing them forward. Walking them out in front of you, pushing the floor away from you so your tailbone goes down to the floor, and then bringing the forearm that's opposite of the front leg down toward the floor. The elbow might be up high, it might be down low. And keep your gaze going out beyond your front hand. And just let that push a little on that front hand and let the elbow weigh down toward the floor on the hand that's closer to your leg. One more breath. And then inhale up from that. And let's take a little bit of a twist. So take the arms up to the sky. And then just twist to the right, letting the right arm reach behind you. And then inhale up to the top. Come to the center and exhale, left hand behind you. And then inhale up to the top. And then exhale, both hands down. Taking the left hand to the right knee. Reach the right arm up and lean over to the left. So you're holding onto the right knee and leaning away from it. Feeling your belly pulling the right hip to the floor, opening that joint. And then inhaling up to the top, switching, taking the right hand to the left knee, left arm up, and leaning over. So you're pushing your left knee away and dropping your left hip toward the floor, opening the side body. One more breath. And then inhale that up and bring both feet straight in front of you and try to bring your feet as close together as you can. They might be a little bit apart. And then just wrap your arms as much as you can around your legs and let your head come down towards your knees. You're not going to be able to mash it all the way down to the knees, but just in that direction. And then pull the legs apart with your hands and pull your legs together and resist that. So you're going to feel that opening all through the lower back, the mid-back, soften the shoulders, pull a little more with the hands, resist with the legs, and then come back up. And now just change which hand is on the top and which is on the bottom. And then again, folding over, looking down at your knees, pulling your legs apart with your hands and resisting with your legs. So you're really opening the back up. One more breath. And then inhale back from that and turn to the side and come onto your hands and knees. Have your block or your toilet paper rolls by your hands so that you're a little bit out to the side so you can reach them later on. And then spread your fingertips and take your knees so they're really hip width apart. They're not up close together. And then curl the toes under and let your back arch and just pull forward with your chest, lift up with your tailbone. So you're not letting your belly just hang out, and lift up with your chest and feel that upper back begin to open. Then tuck your tail, round your back, let your head come down, and press your hips back to your heels, looking down between your elbows rather than tipping your head all the way back. And then press down on your hands, lift your head so you're looking through your hands, and inhale back up to the top. Lift your knees up just a tiny bit, just off the floor a tiny bit, pressing down on the hands, lifting the knees, pressing on the toes, lifting in the belly, little tiny bit of ab work. And then bring the knees down, flatten the tops of your feet, and press your hips as much as you can toward your heels. So you might be hovering quite far up, or you might be down close. Lift the head so you're just looking between your elbows and let that stretch out And then maybe take the edge of your mat and hold on to it and push your mat away from your hips and let that stretch the arms open. Take another breath here, and then inhale back up, bringing your hands back under your shoulders, curl the toes, and move the hips back a little bit and then lift them up. So you're coming almost to a down dog, but you're bending your knees and you're trying to bring your chest towards your thighs. So you may be up a little bit, or you might be back pretty close. Spread the toes. Try not to dip your head and look back. Just spread the toes. Lift the hips up a little bit so you're almost tucking your tail up. And then slowly begin to straighten your legs. They don't need to get all the way straight, but feel the back of the legs starting to straighten. And then bend the knees and bring your hips back towards your heels like you're a runner about to jump out of the chute. And then stretch the legs up, and this time come a little bit closer to straight. And then one more time, bend and take the hips back, and then come up, straightening the legs. Maybe now you can walk your hands a little farther forward. Heels might come off the floor a little bit. Downward facing dog, head through the arms. Breathing in and out 3 times. Press down on the hands. Breathe in for 4 and out for 6. Long breath sequence. Spread the toes. Lift the ribs. Lift the tailbone a little. And then come forward and bring your knees back down to the floor. Taking the feet, you're going to flatten them, and you can even wiggle them a little bit out. And now I'm going to turn to face you so that I have room here. You're going to turn, just run your mat facing the front. You're going to take the left leg out to the side, and I'm mirroring you here. And then just rock your hips back and forth. Just rock the hips back and forth and feel that stretch right inside the leg. Then round your back and let your head look back at your knee. Relax the foot that's on the floor, that's flattened out behind you where your knee is bent, and press down on the foot that's in the floor that's straightened out to the side. And then inhale and take a little bit of an arch in your back, a little bit of a dog tilt there. And then lift back into the rounded back and come back to the flat back. And now take the hand that's the opposite of the leg that's stretched out and bring it out a little bit. And take the hand where the leg is stretched out, open it up to the sky. So we often do this with 2 knees on the floor, but now we're stretching a little more. And then you're going to just scoop that hand under. You're probably not going to get your head all the way down to the floor. Just let that hand reach underneath. Let your head hover. Try not to bend it into your elbow. Keep it straight on the back. Push down and straighten the opposite arm there from the one that's reaching under. So both arms are reaching straight. Lift the belly and the ribs. And then inhale back and place that hand under your shoulder. Bring the other hand under your shoulder and bring that leg in. And then round your back just to soften things up. And come back to the center and take the opposite leg out. So now you've got the right leg out. If I'm mirroring you, doesn't matter as long as you switch legs. And then rock back and forth on that, letting that hip begin to open, and then lift the ribs, engage the belly a little bit, and flatten the foot that's where the knee is bent, and then take that hand and reach out. And then open up the hand that's toward the leg that's stretched out, reaching up to the sky, softening the back of your neck, opening the heart. Take big breath in, and then exhale and reach under, just stretching underneath. So don't worry about getting your head all the way down to the floor. Just stretch underneath and then resist in the inside of the leg that's stretched out. Resist in the belly, so you're trying to keep your lower back opening up, not arching. Pressing down with the hand that's stretched out and soft on the hand that's stretched under. One more breath. And then inhale, placing the hand that was under your shoulder, bringing that leg back in. And I'm going to turn back to the front of the mat. Walk your hands forward, maybe walk your knees back, and stretch back, downward facing dog. And then just wiggle your dog a little bit. Just squiggle it around there and open it up. And then press your hips back, and then inhale forward. If the plank is difficult for you, you're going to drop the knees early on. Otherwise, you're going to hold the knees up, lift the ribs and the belly up, whether your knees are on the floor or not. Lift the back of your head so it lines up with your body. One more breath. And then bring the knees down, bring the chest down, come all the way down to the floor. Taking the block, you're going to just put it by your side. We're going to use them in a minute. And then stretch your arms out in front of you and push down on the floor and try to pull the floor towards you as you lift your head up and keep the tops of your feet on the floor, but feel the knees stretching up and the back opening up there. One more breath, and then exhale down. And now bring your hands under your shoulders and inhale up to the top. And then bend the elbows close to your body and exhale back down. Lengthen the neck, press down on the floor, pull your elbows so you can feel them reaching for the side of your body. And then just lift your head a little bit. Stretch the legs long, lift the head and the shoulders a little more, keeping the elbows bent up to the top, and then exhaling all the way back into an extended child's pose, sliding your hands back, hips to the heels, top of the head in between your arms. Come up on your fingertips, and that's going to stretch the upper arm a little bit. Try not to let the elbows bend out. Really reach long with those arms, pressing into the floor, and then inhaling up. And now taking your blocks, bring them into place, put them on the medium setting. So that'll be about the same if you have your toilet paper or your can of tomatoes. And then stretch the right leg out, lifting it up, coming so that you're in the tabletop position. And then bend your knee in and as slowly as you can, slide the foot forward. You may have to push it forward. And then take the hips forward and look up at the sky. And then look forward and slide back into a runner's stretch. So your front leg is pushing forward. You're dropping the right hip a little bit, pressing the right heel into the floor. And then bring the right foot back under the knee. Slide forward and open that up. And then lift back and slide that into the child's pose. Keep your hands on the blocks. So your hands are a little bit high. So your hips may stay a little bit high. And then inhale back up and take the left foot into the tabletop, but using the hands on the blocks in the tabletop, lifting the ribs, pointing the toe down to the floor, and then bend that foot and slowly slide it in, sliding it forward, maybe pushing it with your hand, and then letting the hips look up, stretching up to the sky, and then lifting back, sliding the left foot forward a little into the runner's stretch, pressing the hips back, pressing the heel into the floor, bringing the foot to the floor again, and inhaling, looking up at the sky. Try to relax the right foot. And then inhale back, take your foot back, separate your blocks, bring your hands to the floor in front of you, and press back into downward facing dog. Holding the down dog now for a sequence of 3 of those 4 in, 6 out breaths. Breathing in and out. Staying with that breath, pressing down into the floor. See if you can spread your toes. And then inhale forward again into the plank, holding the plank up, or holding the knees on the floor plank. One more breath, and then everyone bring the knees down, and just lift your chest forward. Keep your toes curled under, and then stretching down to the floor. taking your hands again under the shoulders, pull the elbows back, and now extend the arms back alongside the body. Let your forehead rest on the floor and lift the knees up over the floor, up off the floor, and then lift your head a little bit. So you're sitting on your ribs. You're strong on your ribs and your hip bones. Your knees are a little bit up. You're pressing on your feet. And now lift the feet up just a little bit. Lift the arms a little bit higher. Lift from the thigh, not from the ankle. One more breath, and then release that down. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Inhale up. Exhale back to the downward facing dog. And now take the right leg and lift it up, same as the table, but now we're in the down dog. So feel that that right leg is flat, knees flat to the parallel to the floor, toes to the floor. And then look a little forward and press your hips back so they open up. And then bring that knee under and now come forward and lift that leg forward. You may have to push it forward and place the left foot on the floor. Take your hands again on the blocks so your arms are longer. And then lift up so you're just parallel to that front leg and press down on the back foot. Lift the right arm up by your ear and stretch it forward. And then begin to turn to the right. So your back foot is flat on the floor. You're not in a turned in foot. You're just flat to the floor. So you might not be able to turn all the way to the side. A little more of a hip opener here. And then bring that hand down. And now come up on the back toe. And you can keep the left hand on the block, or you could bring the left hand down lower on the block or down to the floor. And now take the right arm up and open and keep pulling this right hip down and back as you turn and try to touch your left ribs to your right leg, turning up to the sky, turning the chest to the sky. One more breath. And then bring that leg down. Coming up on your fingertips, place the back foot there. And then just bring one of your blocks and lift up to the top. And just roll the shoulders. And then bring your block up by your ears. And you can have a block, a book, a toilet paper roll, a paper towel roll. And just feel that you're pressing into that. And then try to get the front leg so it's not forward or back. It's right over the heel. So you have to adjust your back leg in or out. And then begin to tuck the tail to balance the lower body. And just lean back and let that block be coming out the top of your head. So soften the shoulders, opening the chest, reaching back behind you. Feel your arms nice and straight, not slack. One more breath. And then inhale back down. And you're going to straighten the front leg and take your block and just place it under your shoulder. Your hips are a little bit on a diagonal. The block could be low or high, or you might be able to reach all the way to the floor. Take it where it's comfortable, and then put your hand on your lower back and lengthen your right hip and twist to the right. So you feel your hips are turning a little bit toward the floor and your chest is turning toward the side. Lift the head so it's parallel to the floor, and then reach up for the ceiling into your triangle, pushing down on your feet. And think of the triangle as a hip opener. So you want to feel a little bit the right hip going back and the left hip turning toward the floor, and then gently turning your head toward the ceiling, reaching up to the sky, reaching down to the floor, pressing into both feet. Nice, strong feet. One more breath. And then look down at the floor and let go of your block. And bring both arms up again. And come back into that front leg bent. And then bringing your hands down to the floor. Come up on the back toe. Drop the back knee down to the floor. Take your hand to the front leg and just twist and look over your shoulder. And really, you could put your hand right in the crease of the hip on that right hip. And just let that hip press forward. Nice and long. Then bring your hand back down to the floor, or place it up on the blocks, either way, because you're going to slide your hips back, again into the runner's stretch, and flex the front foot, press down on the heel, drop the front hip, and feel that thigh stretch opening up there. Feeling that hip opening, lifting the chest maybe up a little bit. You could come quite high on your blocks if you have a set of blocks, and just lift your chest up, and then bend that foot in. Take the blocks out of your way. Bring your hands by your front foot, lift the back foot, and step to the front of the mat into a forward fold, keeping the knees a little bent so your hands can reach comfortably to the floor under your shoulders, turning your head side to side. And then just coming up on your fingertips and bringing your hands to the front of your legs, straighten the legs, and press into the shins, and press the shins into the hands, and come up to a flat back, push the feet into the floor, press the feet into the floor, one more breath, and then reach the arms forward. That's going to be a little ab work, and inhale up to the top, exhale, a little bit of a back bend, inhale up, exhale, hands to the heart, take a breath in, release the breath out, release the hands by your side, circle your arms back behind you a little bit, and then reach for the ceiling and take a little tip back, and then lift up and over, exhaling the arms wide, and again bringing the fingertips down, bending the knees so your chest comes closer to your thighs, turn your head a little bit side to side, and then come up and place the hands on the front of the legs, come up as high in the legs as you need to get parallel to the floor, press down on your feet, lift up in the ribs, breathe in and out, lift the back of the head, and then slowly bring the hands down, releasing your neck, stepping your right leg back behind you, place the right leg on the floor. Bring your block in under your right hand, and take your left arm and twist to the left. So you're pulling your left hip back a little to keep it in place. The left foot is bent, right foot is pressing on the floor. You're reaching for the ceiling, tucking the tail, softening the breath, and then bring your hands down and press up. Inhale up to the top. Bend the knees a little bit. And then if you want to, reach and bring a block up, which I didn't remember to do. And then you're going to bring that block up to the top. You're going to lean back into it, bend the front knee, press on the back leg, and then inhale back up and bring your hand on the block, down to the side, curl the back toe under, walk it back, bend nice and deep in the front leg. You're trying to get a right angle there. And again, take the left arm up to the sky, but a little bit more open now, twisting to the side, pushing down on the big toe side of the back foot so you don't roll to the outside edge of that foot. One more breath, and then bring your hands down and place that foot solidly on the floor. Inhale up to the top, straighten the front leg, open up, and now you can take your block, come down to your block, place it under your shoulder, let your right arm go, circle the right arm around, and let it go straight up to the sky, pressing down on the back foot, twisting open into that triangle, feeling that the right hip is pulling toward the floor, the ribs are extending out, and the chest is twisting toward the ceiling. Soften the left shoulder, so come up higher on your block if you need to get that left shoulder to be soft and the body straight underneath. One more breath, and then release your block and inhale back up to the top. Come again into that warrior one. Pushing on the back foot, bending the front foot, and then bringing your hands down to the floor, coming up on the back toe, dropping the back knee, taking your hand on your right hand on the block or on the floor, twist and look over your left shoulder and let your hips open to the right so that that's really opening up. And then coming back to the center, place your hands on your blocks. They don't have to be high, toilet paper rolls are fine. Shift the hip back, slide the left foot forward, press down on the heel, pull back into the waist. So not arching the back, but pulling back into the waist, lifting the chest up. If you've got your full blocks, you could walk them back a little higher so that you're up a little higher, and then drop the left hip and stretch the right hip foot. You could do a little bit what I call Barbie NASCAR with that foot, where you're pushing on the accelerator with the wrong foot. One more breath. And then bring that foot in. Place your blocks to the side. Bring your hands beside your foot and step up to the front of the mat again, releasing the back of your head, inhaling up to the top. Big stretch, big back opening. Inhaling up, exhaling, hands to the heart. And now I'm going to turn and face you. You can stay whichever way it works, but I want you to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to take the legs apart, and I'm going to take the right leg and cross it over the left leg. So I'm no longer mirroring you, but it doesn't matter which leg goes first. Take your hands to your hips so you feel your ribs lift up nice and high. And now look down at your feet. If one foot is way in front of the other, bring your feet closer together. If that's pretty easy, you can separate them a little more. Now, place your hands on your lower back and feel your lower back lengthen. So you're not getting out of this by arching your lower back. Bend the knees a little if you need to. Then take the arms up and take the leg that's in front, that hand is going to go in back. And you're going to put your two palms together, squeeze the legs together, soften the shoulders, and then press one hand into the other. As you bring your hands down, you can think of it as toward your knees or toward the floor. Let your head relax, keep pressing the legs together, gently press the hands together, feel that opening up around the hip joint, and then press the bottom hand into the top hand and inhale up to the top. Take the hands, release them. And now if you want to get really fancy, you can turn both feet toward the front of the side, turn them over, turn them around, and you're going to have switched all the way around. Or you can just cross the left leg over the right. Okay, and now adjust the distance of your feet. So if one foot is way in front, move the feet a little closer. If that's easy, move them a little farther apart, but feel like the feet are going straight down. Then you're going to take the front leg, that hand's going to go in back, and the opposite hand from the front leg is going to press you up. So I have my left leg in front, my right hand is pressing. Let the lower back release, press the thighs together, lift up through the waist, and then feel like you're pushing a plunger as you go down. So you keep lifting up with the belly because there's a little pressure in the hands, and then release the shoulders, not up by your ears, but back toward your hips, hands reaching to the floor, legs pressing together, weight on the full foot, not on the toes, not on the heel. Let your neck relax, move your head side to side, and then on an inhale, you're going to press those hands together and draw yourself up to the top. Release the hands down, and you can swivel all the way around again, or you can just step to the front of your mat. Taking your hands to your hips, bring the feet pretty close together, and then bend the knees and take the hips back. Keep your hands on your hips so you can feel them going behind your heels, and then lift the arms up by the ears, pressing down on the heels. One more breath. Bring the hands to the heart, and now you're going to bring your right elbow toward your left knee or the outside of your left leg if you can. Try not to swivel way over to the side. So see how my back is trying to get nice and straight, not curling to the left. Breathing in and out. One more breath, and then inhale back to the center. Exhale, stretch up. Inhale, open into the back bend. Exhale, up to the top, hands together to the heart. Inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, twist in the opposite direction. Pulling your left hip back, pulling your left elbow toward the right leg, maybe to the outside of the right leg, lengthening your back. Pull that left hip back so you really open the hips. One more breath. And then press on the feet, inhale to the center, up to the top, exhale into the back bend, Inhale up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Close your eyes. 2, in breath 4, out breath 6. And now release the hands and step your right leg back just enough that you can keep your hips forward. And then you could bend down and take a block and place a block right under your shoulder. So we're going to work our way around to twisting to the side. So put your hand on your left hip and even on your lower back to remind not to arch away. And then you're going to inhale up and lean back. Keep weight in your front foot. Don't lose that. Soften the shoulder. Maybe reach a little farther back with your arm. And then press on the feet. Lift with the belly. Inhale up. And exhale, stretch the arm forward and bring it to your block. Raise the block as high as you need to get your back parallel to the floor. So you might be able to work with the block very low, medium, or high. I'll take the medium setting. And then take your left hand, press it into your tailbone, and stretch your back away. So feel a nice opening in the back. Then place your hand on your hip and just turn to face to the left. Then take your left arm and reach it up to the front. Turn the palm out, and then try to reach the left arm up to the ceiling. It might stop part way, but don't let it twist inside out. And then push down on the back leg, shift your weight a little more to the back leg, open the chest to the side, breathe in and out, stretching the hips open, pulling the left hip back, softening the breath, and then bringing the left hand down to the floor. Place it on a block and just let your head, place your hands on the 2 blocks and let your head release. If that's very easy, you can take your hands off the blocks. If it's hard, take the blocks to a higher setting. And now pull the weight into the back leg. So you're almost lifting your front leg, the heel almost off the floor. And then pull your weight into the front leg and lift your back so that it's straight out. And then fold over a little and shift your weight into your back leg. And then inhale into the front leg. And that's going to allow you to step your back leg forward. And just for a treat, come into the chair pose, Utkatasana coming up. Inhaling up, exhaling down, stepping the left leg back. Adjust your stance so your hips are straight, but they're not so close that there's no challenge. So feel a little bit of challenge there. And then holding your hand on your lower back, right hand on the lower back, left arm up, reach up and behind you. Remind your lower back to stay soft. And just press down on those feet, soften your breath, and then inhale up. And you're going to take your hand down to the floor and place it on the block, keeping the right hand on your lower back, taking the block up high enough that you can pretty much straighten your back parallel to the floor. So just that height. And then when you're at the height that works for you, take your hand right in that right hip joint. Roll the hip back, stretch and turn to the side, to the right. And now get used to that turn. So long lower back, pressing down on the feet. Let the right arm reach up to the front. And then turn the palm out and let that right arm just circle up to the sky. Pressing down on your feet. Trying to get it as close to straight up as you can, but not twisting it behind you. So better up here. And then twist, twist, twist. Press on both feet. Press on both feet. Lift up and twist. Push down on the back foot. One more breath. And then bring that hand down to your block or to the floor. Straighten the back. And then bend and fold over the front leg, not letting your hips shift to the right. So just letting your head release. And now take the weight a little more to your back foot. And then inhale, take the weight over your front foot and straighten the back. And then exhale, take the weight to the back foot. Almost feel like the front heel is going to lift up. And then inhale, come into that flat back. Bend the front knee. Step the back leg forward. Come into the Utkatasana. And you're in your chair pose. Inhale up. Exhale, reach behind. Inhale up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Close your eyes. And take again the sequence of 4 in, 6 out, several breaths. Opening your eyes, release your hands again. And take your hands just behind your back. And just bend the knees and lean over, letting the arms open up, head drop down, turning the head to side, stretching your arms maybe up a little higher, maybe over a little more. One more breath, and then release your hands and come up to the top. And just come into your chair. And now from your chair, you're going to try to go down on your tiptoes. So you're going to bring your hands in front of you, and you're going to come down, and you're going to let your heels come up, and you're going to squeeze your legs together. Maybe that worked, maybe it didn't. See if you can get up there. If you can't balance, take your blocks and let them help you balance. So you're stretching the bottom of your feet. One more breath, and then bring the hips down, and walk yourself back so you're sitting straight up on your mat. Rock a little bit side to side. And now take your blocks out of the way. Take your feet about mat width apart. And then using your right hand to anchor your right hip, take the left arm up and then twist to the left and reach with the outside of your left hand for the outside of your right leg. And then you're just going to take your right hand and put it on the floor, turn it toward the back of the room and twist over, lifting up nice and tall. So push the back of your hand against the leg against your hand, and then inhale back up to the top. Taking it on the other side. Hand on your left hip, right arm goes up, exhaling, bringing the outside of the right hand to the outside of the leg, and then twisting, lifting nice and straight in the back. So slide your hand in closer if you need to get your back straight. Reach the left hand behind and just open that up. So you're beginning to open the hips this way now. One more breath, and then back to the center. And now I'm going to work with the Baddha Konasana. Again, I'll come to the front so you can see what I'm doing. You're going to take your block, or just to keep everybody happy, those of you who are using toilet paper, you're going to put your toilet paper at the ball of your foot, and then rock a little side to side. Take your feet in an omega so they're not pressed up next to you. And then you're just going to lean forward and you're pushing the feet together against some point of resistance. So something between your feet. Could be a book, could be a block, anything that works. Let your elbows rest on the inside of your shins and just feel the weight of your body, a light curve. You're not looking back all the way back at your belly there. You're just looking forward a little bit. And then come up from that. And now you can take your marker away, keeping the feet right where they are. You're going to bring the left foot in, right foot is out. I'm not mirroring you here. So you're going to be opposite foot from me. And then you can bring it in. It might not go all the way in. Bring it in where it feels comfortable. Don't let it flop over to the side of the foot. Stay on the side of the foot. So you could put a nice flat surface against the bottom of that foot. In fact, you could put your right hand against that foot. And then you're going to just reach forward with your left hand and see if you can lean forward a little bit. Just keep the weight leaning a little to the right so you're opening both hips in an asymmetrical way. And then come back to the center and bring your feet forward and put your block or your toilet paper roll. You can make it a little bit wider apart if you want now. And again, arms along the shins, lift the belly up and over, look out beyond your toes. So the top of your head is going out and over your feet, press into the block, opening those hips. Then inhaling back up, you're going to bring the right foot in into the full Baddha Konasana. The left foot is still at the block distance. You could put your left hand against your right foot and then just reach the right hand forward. You might only be able to just barely reach forward. And keep the weight going a little to the right so that you keep the resistance. Feel like somebody's sucking your right knee down into the floor, down into the floor, down into the floor. And then slowly come up from that. And you could take the block out of your way and just bring the bottoms of your feet together. And now lift your hips up, and you might even take a blanket or a block. You could even put your hips up high. So if it's very hard for you to open your knees, take your hips up onto the block. And then just hold onto your ankles, trying to bring your heels in and lifting up nice and tall. And then think a little bit of winch, pulling those heels down. Breath in, exhale, knees to the floor. Breath in, exhale, press the heels together. Breath in, lift up. Exhale, knees to the floor. One more breath in. Exhale, push the feet together. And then release it. Let your knees come up and just swivel a little bit side to side. And now we're going to open up to a thigh stretch. So all my equipment out of the way. You're going to take the left leg forward, take the right leg in. You're going to pull the tendons apart that are here. You can feel them. And make a big space by doing that. Then pull the calf, not out to the side, but toward the heel, making a big space. Then lean over to the left and fold the right leg under. If you can't get your right hip down to the floor, you can put both hips up on the block. So I'll stay up on the block just to demonstrate this. Now, how far out your right knee goes is going to depend on how open or closed your hip is. If your hip is tight, it'll be out a little more. If your hip is open, you might be able to get both knees so it looks like you're just missing the bottom half of your leg. Then you're going to take your arms up to the sky and you're going to exhale forward, keeping your hands by your ears and your back straight. And you might not be able to go very far. This is just tease those hips. So you can come in and out, just tease in the hip joint, in and out. And then come up to the top. And now we're going to take it the other way on the hip joint. So you're going to bring your hands behind you, bend the left leg in, and lift the hips up, reset them on the floor or the block. And now you're looking to get stretch in the top of the front thigh. If it gets to the knee and the knee starts to come up, then all you're doing is stretching your shin. You're not opening the thigh. So wherever your thigh is, that's where you're going to stay. Some people, particularly if you're not on the block, may be able to get all the way down to the floor. If the knee pops up, keep yourself up on your hands. Then you're going to take the left foot and you're going to try like you were pushing a wall. You're going to try to straighten that left leg out without pulling your hips over to the left. And then bring the left leg in. And you're going to put your left foot on top of your right leg a little bit. If you're really open, you can go all the way to the floor while you're doing this. And then just push down a little bit with your left foot. See if you can relax your right leg and open that thigh. Breathe in and out, nice long sequence. And then place your foot back on the floor. Let your head drop back a little, lift it up, wiggle the neck so you're not tensing your neck. And now push the wall with the left foot. And then you can either stay just pushing to get toward that wall, or you could try to lift the left leg up while you press the right leg down. Maybe it'll move a little distance, maybe not. And then bring it back down, bending the foot. Use that to help you come up and resit on the floor or the top of your block. Then take your left leg and cross it over the ankle. If your right knee is really getting sore, just straighten the right leg out. Then place your hand on the bottom of your left foot and on the top of your left knee and just sit up there nice and tall. And then you're going to take your left hand to your left heel and your right hand to your right heel. And so you're trying to use that right heel to keep this opening in the hip happening. And then you're just going to lean a little to the left as you twist around. Up to the ceiling and a little to the left, and maybe look all the way out the corner of your right eye. And breathe in and out. One more breath. And then slowly inhale, come forward on the inhale so you don't stress that out. And then stretch this leg out and lift yourself up and sit back down on the floor, stretching the legs in front of you. Circle your ankles a little bit. And now we'll come around on the other side. So you're going to bend the left leg in, separate the tendons, pull the calf with your thumbs towards your heel, and you'll feel that space that allows you to pull this in, and then fold that leg under. If you need to go up on the block, go up on the block. If you don't need the block, just stay here. You're going to settle yourself and then look at your front leg. Open it out to the side if it's too tight on that left hip. Encourage it to come parallel if you can. So your goal is to have the top of your legs parallel and the bottom of the left leg folded under. Right foot nice and tall. And then lift the arms up, lift the side body straight. So don't lift the shoulders instead of the side of the body. Shoulders drop down, side of the body long, and then just tilt at the waist. Just bring the weight of your upper body so that it's stretching your hips. It might be 1/1000th of an inch. It might be quite a big distance. It's going to depend on your hip opening. Lift up nice and tall, long, even though you're bending forward. Let the breath be free. One more breath. And then come back to neutral and bring your hands down to your sides. Bend your right leg in to help you readjust your hips. And then come down, either bending the arms or coming down to the elbow. Lifting the hips straight again, checking that the left knee hasn't gone way out to the side. If the left knee is going up off the floor, out to the side, come back up onto your hands rather than your elbows. And then taking a little bit of a flexion in that right foot, see if you can stretch it out and open that up. If you feel okay with going all the way to the ground, that's fine. And try not to let the left hip roll up. You're trying to keep your hips so they're beams. If there were beams of light, they're going right up to the ceiling. And then you're going to bring this foot in, and you could just place it gently on the left leg and see if you can use your right heel to massage your left leg open a little bit. So you're pushing toward the knee with the heel and you're pulling with the ab muscles toward the hip. Just pressing down, letting that, giving it some time to open up. And then place your foot back on the ground, move your head a little bit, make sure you're not tensing your neck and shoulders, lift the chest up out of the ground so you're not collapsing in the middle, and bring that knee in and push that foot to the wall in front of you. And then maybe it stays right there, or maybe it lifts up a little higher, resisting with the left leg, breathing in and out. One more breath, and then bringing that leg all the way down to the floor. Going to lift up, walk yourself up, and lean. I almost forgot. Cross this leg over. And now when this leg is crossed over, if you're on the block, you have to kind of reset. If you're not on the block, you have to pull this hip around. And then you're sitting up nice and tall. You're taking the right hand to the right heel, left hand to the left heel, and then try not to lean back or forward. Just come straight up, and then from the ribs, just swivel to the side, and almost feel like your left leg is pulling to the right. You can feel that inside, opening it up, and then turning your head and taking your eyes, looking all the way out the corner of your left eye, breathing in and out, breathing in and out, breathing in and out. One more time. And then on an inhale, unleash it all and come back to the front, straighten this leg, pull this leg across and come back to the center, wiggle your ankles and come back and lie on your back. Bring your block or your toilet paper with you. Bend your knees in and you're just going to take the block and you could put it on low setting, medium setting. Place your roll of toilet paper right with the circle right at your sacrum, or you can use a pillow here. It doesn't need to be painful. It needs to just support you. Take your hands behind your head, move your head a little so that your neck is nice and free, and then Press down on your hips and begin to lift your knees up. So you're balancing on your hips. And then you're going to stretch, you're going to pedal your legs a little bit. So you're going to pull the right leg in and stretch the left leg out. A little bit of abdominal work. And then bring them slowly together. Stretch them out again. And then bring them slowly together. And now take both feet to the floor. Bring your fingertips as close as you can get them to your heels. And then you're going to lift up off, feel yourself rise up off of the support. And then as you rise off of the support, feel your weight coming towards your chest and forward. And then pull the knees toward each other. So they don't need to touch, but don't roll to the outside edge of your feet. And then rock the shoulders. And you may find that your block or your toilet paper is right there. And you can press your hands into it as you walk the arms in. So that's a little bit of a challenge. If you have to pop the wrists up to do that, just keep the hands flat on the floor. If you can turn to the side of the hand and press it into the block or into whatever object you have there, that's great. And now check that the knees haven't gone out to the side again. Press the chest up. Lift the chest a little more. Soften a little bit in the breath. Press down on the feet. Press down on the upper part of the arm. Press the hand into the floor. Press the hand into whatever you're holding. One more breath. And then slide whatever was under your tailbone there away and roll down to the floor. Rock your knees just side to side there. And now take your hands once more behind your head. Lift your head up and just sway your upper body a little bit side to side. And then come back down to the back of your head. Draw the left knee in. Flex the left foot. And let your ribs drop down to the floor. Then stretch out the right leg with the right foot flexed. The knee may not go all the way straight. To straighten the knee, you have to arch your back. Just keep the knee a little bit bent. And then pull the left leg in. And then stretch the left leg up to the sky. You could point the foot if you want, or take a halfway point. Let your hands wrap around the back of your leg. Leg might be a little bit out toward the front, or it might be up overhead. Then lift your head up, walk your hands up that leg, and see if you can slide back down, stretching the leg, and maybe lift the right leg a little bit off the floor. So you have a little bit of abdominal challenge there. And then bend both knees into the chest, and switch hands. So you're going to hold the right leg, let the ribs soften, and then keeping the ribs as soft as you can, slide that left heel along the floor, straightening the left leg as close as you can get to straight, but keeping a flexion in both feet. Taking a breath, pulling the left leg thigh towards your ribs, and then stretch the right leg up to the sky. Keep the left leg stretched out. Reach up, maybe come into a point or a demi-point, pushing on the accelerator there. Lift your head, make sure you're not arching to the back of the room, and then pull the leg in. If it's stretched out toward the ankle, it doesn't matter, just pull it down toward the floor and open that hip up. And then maybe lift the left leg a little bit off the floor and bend the knee, bend both knees, and rock your knees in a circle, massaging your lower back. And then separating the knees, keep your toes close together and cross your ankles. So toes together and then cross the ankles. And then lift your head up and see if you can reach for the ankle, not for the toes. Try not to bend your foot in, just reach for the ankle and then lie back down. And now you're going to lift your feet up like you used to do when you were a baby. You're going to bring them all the way up with the legs crossed. So that's going to limit how far up you go. And you're going to reach your feet up until you could put them in the top of your head or in your mouth. Let your tailbone come up. Rock a little side to side. Crisscross happy baby. And then bring that back down. And switch the cross of your ankles. Check that you're not grabbing your toes. Try to grab as close to the ankle as you can so your foot can remain like it was standing on the floor. And then rock the head a little side to side. Look up above your knees and your feet, not back toward the back of the room, and lift those ankles. Press the ankles in together. Lift them up, let the tailbone come up a little, let the elbows separate. Rock that a little bit side to side. Then bringing that back down, taking your feet, separate them, place them on the floor. Lift your hips up and just brush the floor with your tailbone. Just lightly above. And then lower that down. Take your arms up overhead, out a little bit wide. So you're reaching out in kind of a victory reach, not straight over your head. And then take your feet down and let them open so you're splayed out like a star. Your feet are as wide as your mat. Your elbows are probably at the outside edge of your mat. And then rock the head side to side. And take a big breath in, and as you exhale, close your eyes. And just breathe. Feeling that star spread on the floor. Nice and wide. Taking another breath this way. And then bending a little at the elbows. Let your elbows come down. Bring your hands to your side, keeping your feet this wide. Softening your breath. Going into your Shavasana, closing the eyes. Dropping into the floor. You can stay in Shavasana for as long as you like. Letting your practice close, letting your body rest. Carrying the softness with you into your day. Bringing you peace and quiet. Stay in the Shavasana as long as you like. Or if you're ready to come out, just roll into your right. Slowly letting yourself stay a moment on the right. And pressing yourself up to where we started. Crossing the legs gently. Bringing the hands to the heart. And taking the peacefulness of this practice into your day. Into your kindness to yourself and to those around you and in your household. Namaste.